and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Now, live from Chicago, the Hal Sparks radio program mega worldwide.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Hal Sparks, actor, comedian, and multimedia personality.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hal Sparks.
All right, let's do this.
Well, I cannot think of a better way to spend my final Saturday morning of 2022 than with my dear friend Johnny Million and all the sparklers and the folks in Chicago at WCPT. It has been an amazing, crazy year. And chat room, we love you. We're glad to see you.
You're insane.
Where do what?
Super chatting out of the gate.
Oh my gosh, it hasn't shown up on my end yet, but I will see it in moments.
Trying to be Hal Vickery or something?
Oh goodness, she's.
I just threw down the gauntlet.
Somebody's Somebody's trying for a new crown. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So welcome and thank you guys for being with us all year. So many of you regulars on the Saturday show and growing regulars in the world of the live stream at infotainmentwars.com and of course at twitch.tv/HalSparks and on Facebook and on Twitter, which what's left of it, the carcass of Twitter. I feel like to some degree this episode will be a bit of a retrospective, both on the year a little bit. We'll chit chat about some of that because we kind of have to. And then we also have to, Philip Bittner will be joining us in the second hour. He is fine. There was a major bombing in Kiev. It was not near him, but he was close enough to be able to smell the cordite in the air.
Jeez.
And yeah. But he is well, and there you go. So much to talk about, and especially Trump's taxes. Now, 6 years of taxes. Now, the difference between these taxes and the taxes that other presidents have given out before they run for office is, first of all, most presidents give 10 years. This is 6, and it starts the year he ran. So you have to understand that even in the circumstance where Trump would monkey around with his own taxes to try and hide his liabilities and do all the stuff that David K. Johnson and others have pointed out over the years that he does regularly to make sure that, people like Mary Trump are denied inheritance money and that the banks don't know that he's broke all the time. Oh my gosh, Hal Vickery. Thank you so much.
There's Hal Vickery.
Yes, there he is coming in hot. And where is it? Oh, and Robert, thank you as well.
Brunswick.
Yep, there we
Junior.
go. Love you guys. Thank you guys. I don't know if you're trying to get in under the financial wire for the end of the fiscal year or something, but I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, we are laundering for them.
Yes, today we are shooting for Johnny Million and CSL to get a end of the year bonus. That would be helpful. That's where all this is going. So, yeah. So, the years that he gave are 25. Well, he didn't give anything. I mean, be abundantly. They showed. He fought to keep his taxes private because the banks will find out he's broke and call in their markers on his big phony loans. And
hey,
I've been going through
them. When you were talking about how most presidential candidates give 10 years and he only started at 2015, if this was involuntary, why didn't they get more?
Because they could only file, I think, about these things, and the Supreme Court could only relate it to him in his time as a public servant and as a presidential candidate and president himself. So it went from the beginning of the candidacy to the end of his presidency.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and the Supreme Court, and for all the Republicans clamoring about, oh my God, this means the government can hand out anybody's taxes. None of us are safe, blah, blah, blah. The Supreme Court made a specific ruling around this.
Glenn is going to do a super chat and then donate and then claim $1 million in losses after giving us that.
That's brilliant. That's a great way to do it.
Good job.
Everybody's learning very well. By the way, I am not this. You cannot write off contributions to my show on your taxes yet. I
will
will
not
be
nonprofit.
That's right. I will at some point be forming some sort of Reverend Gene Scott kind of church cult thing. Pineapple Farm.
As far as your 8-year plan goes, that's down the road a bit.
It is. I've got to find the land in Montana and start around an old military installation or nuclear silo that they're no longer using. Where I can.
Right now, the for-profit of Hal is really just groceries, gas,
health insurance, toothpaste,
right.
Juice, and cough medicine right now. But anyways, it's contribute.
Gotta
Feel
keep
free.
them alive, people.
Yeah, but one of my favorite things, and I've been looking through the Trump stuff, and I pointed it out on my Twitter feed. My favorite thing is his charitable donations one year in particular are $26 million. I mean, the most charitable man in 2015, $26 million in non-tangible charitable items.
So
there's a line for cash and
when I
stuff.
say that I gave $50 and I may not have the receipts.
Right. No, this is
26 million you can do.
There's no even, so there's a line in his taxes that is tangible goods, cash, and like if you give somebody a check or you donate to something and you do it using your credit card, that all counts as tangible, even though it might be digital cash going through there, okay? And then goods, and if you let them use your golf course for free, or you allowed them, you know what I mean, all that kind, you could do that. There's a line for that. That line is blank. The line below it, though,
the substantiation line?
Yes, the line that has the 6 million in it is untangible goods, meaning he just showed up at the party and it's basically like him contributing $500,000 because he's walking around drinking your booze or your juice, I suppose, and eating from your buffet and seizing the microphone and taking a seat on the dais amongst the people who actually contributed as if he's one of them. Like millions of dollars in charity write-offs in stuff that is physically non-existent. Meanwhile, by the way, using his own charity to pay for art that he hangs in his golf clubs, and we now know that the one year he gave the least amount of his charity gave the least amount of any charity on earth to the Boy Scouts, other than, I guess, charities that give nothing, was $7. And that was the year that he paid for Don Jr. to join the Boy Scouts when he was a kid, using money from the charity that he got from other people.
Well, that's awful.
What is that? And again, writing it off. What are you doing? I mean, it's creepy enough that you do it. Right. That's exactly what it is. Just stack. They were just like looking for every penny they could offset. And so that's where he threw it in from. But the fact that he paid for it using money from the charity that other people gave to go, it's so lame. And you know what it is? It's the kind of, I think we've all heard that there are those like penny pinching millionaires. The people who are like, this guy was a janitor and he saved every nickel and he didn't get cream in his coffee unless it was free and blah, blah. And now he's a millionaire. And you hear these kind of like amazing, heartwarming stories. And then he leaves all the money to, the school or something. Like I've heard 6 or 7 of those stories over time. This is the kind of cheap when you know you're broke, where you're like stealing sugar packets and stuff at a restaurant and then pouring them into the sugar shaker at your house so that when people come over for coffee, they think, wow, look at this big, robust, that's very fancy. Yes, my grandmother left me this. It was in her collection or whatever. Is the top silver? No, it's plastic. I sold the silver one. I had to replace it with that. I have a friend who has a 3D printer, and he was looking the wrong way when I took it. But it's always full. He has this kind of, it's theft. It's like theft based on a poverty mindset. It's so weird. And it's all over his taxes. It's all over it. Like this like victim mentality that he has is prevalent throughout his taxes. And it's in contrast to what he told the banks, which is why he's in as much legal trouble as he's going to be in. He is definitely going to run into problems with his banks, because Deutsche Bank has been giving him a quote-unquote soft landing for the last 3 years, because they now know he's been doing this scheme, because it came out from Mary Trump and others that they now are aware that he has no means to pay back these loans, and that the deals he has, the deals he has are marketing, deals, not development deals. He's not building buildings, he's just slapping his name on it. And that applies to, by the way, the building in Chicago. The building in Vegas is a money pit, no surprise to anyone. It never makes money. It's fascinating to me that I don't know how, like, MAGA will continue to like him for the next few months. But the end is nigh, because they're getting, at first glance you go, he's just playing the game, man. He's not, he could pay the, he doesn't have to pay these taxes, so he's not. I have total respect for him.
In their head, they're millionaires someday, and they want to be able to do it too.
Right. They want to deny veterans benefits by not having taxes paid.
Being a millionaire, Hal.
Right. Is never supporting all the things you pretend to support. But they are going to recognize, and I will point out after the break, that this is not a situation where he played the game by the rules and squeezed every ounce of his freedom out of it. It's, quite frankly, he was committing a financial crime and knew it, was lying on his taxes now and forever.
And in every debate.
Yes, and in every debate he had, right, where he's talking to, he's saying, I paid millions in taxes. No, he did not.
I closed those Chinese accounts maybe in 2013 or something.
Which is a lie, because they were open in 2017 when he took $15 million out personally, which is, of course, what you do if you're a billionaire. And as to quote Mickey from Snatch, lose that much running for the bus.
Lose that much running for the bus.
Yeah, that's we got to take a break. We'll be back right after this. It's the Hal Sparks Radio Program, Mega Worldwide, New Year's Eve edition. Johnny, wait till I tell you what I'm doing tonight. It's very exciting when we come back. It's going to be cool. And the trap is closing on this dude, and the slower it happens, the happier I am. And I'll tell you why when we come back.
Hal Sparks Radio Program Mega Worldwide Bumpers. Now welcome back to the Hal Sparks Radio Program Mega Worldwide.
Brought to you by Shields and Yarnell.
Wow, nice. Yeah. Nice pull.
A deep cut, thanks.
I love Shields and Yarnell.
Yeah. Such a weird show. Like, such a time, like, ladies and gentlemen, you may not know this if you're one of the youngsters out there, but Johnny Million and I lived through decades where there were mimes on television who played robots and never spoke. Yep. Just did sketches where they were.
I remember there was a sketch where he was riding a motorcycle and, doing this whole thing. And it was the first time I saw anybody do this, because he imitated, like, running into a bird
flying into his face. Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
Those little things that you never forget.
Game changer. That's what, Yeah. Where's that?
Oh, yeah. That's why I'm always doing this, actually. I try to keep it under the camera.
Sure.
But I can't stop.
It's always a tribute to Shields and Yarnell is always going on.
My entire life, really.
So one of the, David K. Johnson's been on the Trump beat for a very long time. He's written the unauthorized biographies of Trump and has studied him quite a bit. And one of the things that you can see very evident in Trump's taxes right out of the gate is that Trump, while he was in the White House, made $154,200,000 in wages, interest, dividends, capital gains, and pensions during the 6 years he ran for president. I would like to point out which is not pointed out by anyone else, I don't think, that Trump made the most money he's made in 3 decades while he was a public servant, while he worked as a federal government employee. Never mind that fact.
That's a really bad form.
It's pretty hilarious. Yes, but it is true to form for most Republicans.
Yeah.
They most of them make their, the vast majority of their wealth in office. So, despite this huge revenue stream, Trump reported minus $53.2 million in adjusted gross income, according to the last number on the front page of his 1040 income tax return. That's right. He took in $154 million, and he lost 199 during this thing. Yeah, and because he knows all the best people and all the best words, and he's smarter than the economists, and he knows more about terrorism than ISIS and war than the generals and whatever. There are a bunch of these tax deductions, that he made over the years, that Johnson points out when he, in 1984, Trump's federal income tax return included a Schedule C, the form used by sole proprietors, when he was sued and lost. Trump listed no income on this form, yet he deducted $626,264 as expenses. His New York City tax return also showed no income, but listed slightly less in expenses, $619,227. So he went in the hole $1.2 million and wrote it off on his taxes. On what? Who can say? He didn't make any money, but he managed. How many of you manage with no income to rack up $1.2 million in debt without a serious blow addiction? Like this reminds me of,
God, I mean, this is getting serious.
I mean, that's snorting a single family residence right there. I always, this is one of those things where you have to ask, all right, if people were loaning him money, apparently, that he was indebted where he lost money.
Because he's good for it.
Right. But he's got no income coming in. And if you can't pay your debts in income, what do you less than zero them with? And there is an element of this where I think the concern about his relationships with both the fact that he had a Chinese bank account the entire time he was president of the United States. I think he got rid of it in 2020 because he was mad about COVID. I think he was expecting to fill it up to the brim after his big, the China deal. But apparently he had a falling out with Xi Jinping, after COVID. He just didn't feel the same about it. It didn't stop him from selling China the largest order of pork, corn, soybeans, and beef in our nation's history, as Americans were on food lines, and we could have just bought that.
And like 98% of the Trump merchandise at Trump rallies is made in
China. Right. Absolutely.
That is the best when some reporter goes in there and just starts pretending they're shopping.
And looking at the tags.
Every label.
Every single one. So there were no receipts, invoices, or other documentation provided when he was under audit during his appeal from what he argued was an unfair demand for more tax about this $1.2 million back in 1984. We
got a question in the chat where Rob Glenn is asking, did they release the returns or just the worksheets that go with them?
Both. Although the problem is, and this is the part I think people will seize on the quickest, is that there's a whole lot of other in there. Unlisted, unverified, unreported, like business partnerships or something where the money was lost and he had to write it off. But he doesn't say who, and he doesn't say where, and he doesn't say when, and all he says is how much, and take that off my tab. There's a lot of that in there. And there's a lot of that in every year. And there are both the personal income and the Trump Organization taxes. And the Trump organization has basically an LLC for every business it's in bed with. So, and that's not uncommon in the corporate world because you keep a firewall between you and some stuff that might not work out, or you have new partners. You're not going to let them into your main company. And if it all goes south, it doesn't eat the whole company's, as a liability. The problem is when he forms a lot of these, he's a 99% or 100% stakeholder in it, which kind of blows that whole plan. Usually it's like you're the dominant partner, so you're 60% or say 80%, and other people are like, oh, we'll take 20. He's 100% stakeholder in one, and he's 99% in all of them but one, and one of them is he's 100%. Now, there's a ton of stuff that's coming out in these, which is particularly hilarious. In 4 of the 6 years, Trump paid 0 taxes. 2 of them, it was $750. The biggest one was $960,000, something like that, in one particular year, which looked like he was keying it up. Like his accountants were like, "Well, we got to do something. We can't keep doing this if you're going to run again. This is bad." It was like basically put it down, and he'll write off that probably in years later as, well, that was a year that turned out because of 2020. He ended up losing it and reclaiming that money back. So you're more conspiratorial-minded QAnon crowd. I don't know. It kind of looks like Trump knew he was going to have some major write-offs in 20 and 21 when he could have, so he did a smokescreen payment so that he could just get it back later. I don't know. What did he know and when did he know it?
The IRS didn't actually audit Trump while he was president?
There was no audit.
Do we know why, though?
It seems to be because the IRS commissioner under Trump was making a lot of money off of Trump properties for some reason. And that's going to be, that's why it matters who you vote for. And if Democrats still had control of Congress, and they will again by probably the spring, we could look into this stuff. But they'll be looking into why are we hiring 87,000 IRS agents? That'll be the next big clamoring blather in the Republican Party. They won't want to look into this. We'll be back right after this. I still didn't tell you what I'm going to do, and you didn't tell me what you're going to do.
What are you doing?
We got to tell it after. I'll tell you after. It's a big secret, but not. We'll be back right after this. It's the Hal Sparks Radio program, mega worldwide, with 100% more Johnny Million. Happy New Year. Back to the genuine fraud and the hilarity around Donald Trump's fraudulent taxes. Now, let me be abundantly clear. It is my belief, and I would use the taxes that we now have access to as evidence of this belief, that everything before this batch was worse. That these were drafted still being Trump all the way, but by people at his organization in 15 and 16 under the idea that he might lose.
Yeah,
right?
And they knew that, like, all right, as of now, there's very little we can do to keep this out of the public eye.
Right. And
so
we're gonna
have on their best behavior.
Right. Imagine what they were like when it was just throw caution to the wind and nobody cares, and you could just call Forbes up and tell them you're a billionaire and they print it. So, which, by the way, he's very mad at Forbes because they're actually looking at his taxes going, oh dear. Oh, that's not, we were mistaken. This man is nowhere near a billionaire. By the way, another New Year's Eve wrap-up kind of thing. Elon Musk lost more money in history than any person ever this year. $200 billion this year. Poof.
What?
Poof. $200 billion. Now, a lot of that worth...
like the amount of money that could solve the housing crisis. Just...
yeah, four times over?
Yeah, at least 4 times over.
Yeah. Or and Tesla itself has lost we're starting to do it in Twitters. Has lost 6 Twitters. $44 billion to purchase Twitter. Tesla stock has lost 6 Twitters this year. But he's a genius. He's a genius. Don't forget, he's a genius. It's not engineers and other people's inventions, and he's just kind of an angel investor who sticks his nose or jumps in front of the camera. You know all the things that Republicans say about Fauci being a camera hog and always wanting to be in front of a microphone, which has always been a weird thing.
Yeah, that's really that's always been the vibe I get from him. He's just like, come on, hold on just a second, I got something more to say.
Right? Yeah, I don't understand. Like, it's so odd because he has to be the spokesperson for the NIH on occasion, and during a pandemic, you'd want to hear from the top people. In theory, Trump was the one, by the way, who was muscling his way into those kind of briefings when he had nothing to add except drink some bleach and shove a light bulb up your rectum. But I will say that everything that that Republicans seem to hate about Fauci, that seems largely made up, they love about Elon Musk.
Right?
Right?
Well, that's so predictable at this point.
Oh, we'll get to Santos as well. Have you been following?
Oh, man. So Santos was at the insurrection, too? He's giddy about it. He's like, Trump was in full,
yeah.
He is an absolute
He's
mess.
a fanboy. Yeah, he's a fanboy. They will keep him as long as
all he has to do is lie.
As long as he'll vote for Kevin McCarthy, they will keep him in until the 3rd, when he can vote for Kevin McCarthy. We'll see if this becomes a dumpster fire, because he does currently at the count, Kevin McCarthy does not have the votes to be speaker, which is hilarious. And if he does have the votes, it means he's gotten some Democrats to vote for him, which will be even more hilarious, because there's a reason for some Democrats to vote for him to be speaker, so he's semi-indebted and can't claim, all of his claims about Democrats as a whole fall, apart the minute.
Camel 622 just
did
a crazy super chat.
66 thing, $66.60.
And
Oh,
Ben
thank you so
Loco
much.
did a super chat and said, Hal, Johnny Million is a part of your life's tapestry. He's a very tiny thread and adds lots of love shine.
Well, first of all, I agree, except for the tiny thread part. If you've ever seen him, he's a tall drink of water.
I'm a girthy thread.
You are a girthy. Yes.
I regretted that the moment
you said it, but you still said it, and I think that's part of the rich tapestry that Johnny Million is a part of.
Thank you, Benny Loco.
So David K. Johnson, I think, is writing in Salon about the taxes, and this one technique that he used, and this is according to his reporting, one technique Trump used at least 26 times between 2015 and 2020 was as simple as it was flagrant. Trump filed sole proprietor reports, known as Schedule Cs, that showed huge business expenses despite having zero revenue. That created losses, which Trump used to offset his income from work and investments, thus lowering his income taxes. Additional Schedule Cs had expenses exactly equal to revenues, while only a few showed profits. Trump knew this was unlawful because he lost 2 trials over his 1984 income taxes, in which he did the exact same thing. This was a story that David K. Johnson broke in 2016. Both judges, in scathing opinions, ruled that Trump committed civil tax fraud.
I love it.
And then, in the taxes we now see, he still was doing it, which means he never stopped.
No.
By God, I guarantee that in his mind, somewhere along the line, somewhere in the 90s, I bet, he wrote off an expense, which was the taxes he paid based on that judge's ruling. Guaranteed. It'll show up. It's probably written as a business expense, by the dollar. It's probably to the dollar, whatever he was charged in that case. Somewhere along the lines as a big middle finger to that particular judge.
Yeah.
There's just no way, because that's who he is. And there is no way that if his 2015 to 2020 taxes, when he knew that the Democrats and others were trying to get access to his taxes, where they were like, we got to run some cover at least. And that's absolutely, you can see them as they got closer to finding and releasing his taxes, or people got to seeing them, he decided, I'll pay some taxes just to cover my butt. And for the record, He also, one of the reasons why Trump made money in 2018 and 2019 and why he paid the most taxes then is because his properties were doing very well with government contracts. Because
I hate
the
that.
Secret Service and the staff of the White House that had to follow him down there, he was charging them
like way over.
Yeah, over retail for hotel rooms and food and amenities and whatever else, entertainment fees, whatever he could tack on, because they had to follow him around for his own safety.
We paid for that.
Yes, the taxpayer. Yes, the taxpayer. That was basically a tax refund. Like, and even the taxes he paid were just him paying back some of the money he got from the taxpayer for work he should have never gotten credit for in the first place. Ugh. That Trump persisted in using the same fraudulent technique in 6 years of recent tax returns is powerful evidence of mens rea, or criminal intent. This device is not Trump's most lucrative tax cheating technique, but it is the easiest for jurors to understand should Trump be indicted on tax charges. The 65 Schedule Cs Trump filled as a candidate and as a president helped him convert a federal tax bill that could have been as high as $46 million into a $2.1 million profit from the federal tax system. My analysis of the Congressional Joint Committee on Taxation staff report shows that breakdown. There are two main things. By the way, Trump and Melania both paid zero income taxes in 2020. And he did not give away his salary. Because that would be on his taxes. That would count as a charitable giving, and it never showed up. At one point, he wrote that like $100,000 checks to the Parks Department or whatever, which, by the way, at this point, we're going to find out that he had to pay that for the use for his January 6th thing to use as a private campaign.
Because I was in the park.
Right. All right, I think I had a cat attack my door.
We got to take a break.
I don't know. It was a noise. I'll have to see. It could be the Roomba running automatically, doing some end of the year cleaning. I have one of those.
That would be amazing.
And or it could be a Marauder. We'll find out after this break. It's the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide. Happy New Year, Johnny Million. We'll be back.
New Year. Or it could be a Marauder riding a Roomba.
That's right.
Nope, there he goes.
Attention, stop what you're doing. Because we're coming back to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
They went a little crazy with it, and I appreciate it.
Now let's get back with Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
For the record, the New York Times is asking the question whether or not he may have profited from the tax policies he signed into law. You think?
Why did they report it like that?
I mean, I guess it's the attempt at sounding balanced for fear of being attacked openly for saying something.
It's gotta be it. Now.
I guess blatantly obvious.
They're always working the refs.
Yeah, and that don't exist.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me. So, by the way, if you're joining us in the chat room and you're flooding us with end of the year super chats, I am overwhelmed. This is
Wes Webb just made me laugh out loud. He said, "Where's Philip Ittner? I need a downer."
Ouch. Oh, that's cruel.
Oh God. Wes.
He's
our. Got to get him a microphone.
Yes, it's true. He's a part-time troll for us. It's like that old Woody Allen line. Yeah, I'm a bigot, but for the left. So Aaron West, thank you so much. Tamal, again, thank you so much. James Etling, thank you. Karen Elizabeth, appreciate you guys. Savage Wiener, oh my God, the super chat from Savage Wiener.
Savage Wiener.
So you don't know the story of this, but Michael Savage, the right-wing former radio host, now podcaster, who occasionally, I guess, buys his way onto Newsmax for a couple of seconds a week. His real name is Michael Weiner, and he changed his name to Michael Savage. And I have to say, I've said it before and I'll say it again, I agree with the change. I think it was a smart change. I would have done the 100%. Same thing, only I would have changed Michael to Savage. Because, I mean, as
talk about clicks.
I know, seriously. I mean, you're like built to have a Twitter handle at that point, or be the wrestler everyone fears. Because some people were always worried that you have like a spoon hidden in your trunks. Anyway, gang. I don't know why in old wrestling they always had a spoon. Did you ever notice that? That was the thing they snuck in. A knife was too much. A fork was too pointy.
Yeah, that's a good weapon.
They stole a spoon
it's like they
off
snuck it into prison.
Yeah.
The wrestling ring.
And by the way, this is New York Magazine. Trump's tax returns show lying is his only marketable skill.
Oh, whoa!
Ouch.
Who wrote that?
That's from New York Magazine. But the Post has been just as bad. The Post, who called him Humpty Dumpty, and was originally the one that was bounced because they ran the Hunter Biden myth, the laptop myth before anybody else did, and that was they were going to be the shoehorn for the October surprise. That's what New York Post was for. And then what happened? Womp womp. As soon as January 6th happened, they're like, oh, wait, sorry, our bad. And ever since then, they've been kind of reporting on him in an honest way, and he has not liked it any more than, whatever Mike Pillow feels about, Fox and Sean Hannity, who also, we found out from the transcript this week's, said he never bought for a second any of the big lie. He never believed it for a second.
What?
Yes. Under oath, being deposed in the Dominion case, in like a deposition, I believe, for that case.
For the voting machines.
Yes, the lawsuit. Thank you, Betsy.
So he said under deposition, no matter what he said on his entertainment news show,
right? He never believed
bought the big lie for a second.
And for a second, that was the quote. And now Mike Pillow is mad at him and mad at Fox and blah, blah, blah.
How does that help his case?
How does that help Sean Hannity's case?
Yeah.
Well, it helps him if Fox News goes out of business or something. They have to honor his contract because he wasn't one of the liabilities that caused the network, like Maria Bartiromo or one of the other people who was talking about the big lie and lying about Dominion. Sean Hannity can come out and say, I never said Dominion by name and I never bought it from the beginning. Not so that he won't be in trouble with Dominion or have his money taken by Dominion, but that if Fox News is on the hook for $1 billion, he still can get paid. He can sue his employer for ruining his career or something. That would be that's my, man bites own ankle theory on why, why he might have actually, why he's copping to this and why he never went full bore on this the way Maria Bartiromo and others did. And again, Maria Bartiromo was the show where they aired the mea culpa about Dominion on Fox News, but she refused to read it herself. They had somebody else read it, and they ran it in the last 2 minutes of her show without her on the air. And there's I think in many ways, Dominion accepted
Does that even count?
I don't think so. I think that would have been a violation of the agreement, and they might have done it by the word. But ultimately, it was that during one of the shows when they said that, they didn't specify that the host that actually said it had to do the mea culpa, and so Fox wiggled around it, which I don't think counts. I think it's spirit of the ruling in the agreement. I think they broke that. Kathy, thank you so much for that, for the super chat. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Kathy.
You guys, this is lovely. This is like it's like everybody, give it thanks for throwing the party. Can I help you clean up? That's what it feels like a little bit. It's great. It's really lovely. And this has been, I have to say, an amazing year on so many fronts. So much history made this year, so many changes, and a tee up to a very busy 2023 that is going to have a lot of, historic shifts are coming. We're going to live through them. The myriad of things that have come on the radar this year, from the Chinese protests to Russia's imminent collapse, and the rise in petrochemical usage as an offset to, we're going to do this quickly so that we can shift over in the EU and the United States, for example, to renewables at a quicker pace than anybody even thought was possible, is an amazing, end run around our environmental concerns that's teeing up. The rise of Chat GPT and the AI stuff that occurred this year in the last few months. Johnny Million, get used to the idea that you're going to be a full-time musician, my friend. Thank you, Ricky, so much for the super chat.
And Andrea Brower, you're super chatting?
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
Andrea, thank you so much. And by the way, happy belated birthday. Her birthday was on Thursday.
Happy belated.
Yeah. So you're going to be you do realize that whatever you do for a living is going to be gone because it's going to be replaced by AI faster than almost any other thing. But one thing an AI can't do, can't play a guitar.
That's right.
It can create guitar-sounding-ish maybe music that's crap, but it can't actually stand there and do it. Look all sexy like you do. So you got some level of job security. Others, not so much. And we're heading into the upcoming decade we're gonna see more changes in the upcoming decade than we have seen in the last 3. And that's
kind of how it happens.
Yeah, it's kind of how it happens. Yeah, there's this like kind of slingshot version of reality. And by the way, can I just say for the record, they're like real estate developers like Donald Trump, and one of the reasons he may be ahead of the curve accidentally is because he stopped building anything in the 90s. He just, one of the things that showed up on his taxes that amazed me was during his presidency, he sold some of the properties that his father left him during the presidency, which are like, talk about like just old investments that nobody would really have a concern. Like I would be way more concerned about his foreign holdings and these new golf places he bought with these Deutsche Bank loans than a building his dad left him in a will. He sold them while he was president at a loss. What? Who does that? Right, by the way, right before the spike in real estate prices, Captain Genius sells like Manhattan and New Jersey real estate right before it goes up for a loss that his family, that his dad had held on to and passed on to him and his siblings. Georgina, thank you so much. We're at the end of the hour. Philip Bittner, I think, will be joining us during the break.
And
fingers
there's
crossed.
no word from Phil yet.
Okay, he might have power issues. They may be an air raid, so he'll join us when and if he can. But he is okay. We have been hearing from him, so it's okay. We'll be back right after this. Yeah.
You're listening to Hal Sparks' radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I thought there was going to be like a new one every break. I was so excited.
You want more, Hal? We'll give you more. Hal Sparks' radio program, Mega Worldwide on Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820. Hoo-yah!
This is
Chris Leifer.
Chris
Leifer
John
just came
Doe
in with a super chat.
Excellent. John Doe and Mark P, thank you so much. And Tabby, Johnny Million, what's her name? The cat. That's Flora.
Flora.
We
just jumped on.
We have 5 cats and 2 fosters right now in my house. We have a 7-cat household right now. 5 cats and 2 kittens.
You have 5 permacats?
Yes, we have 5 permacats.
All right, rattle them off.
Okay. Maddie, Molly, and Maddie. Murphy, Molly, and Maddie. Murphy is he was rescued, and with Maddie, Murphy. They're the same age. They were replacements for Charlie and Lucy, who died. So we did a 2 for 2 swap. Molly's a feral with the half tail that ran away and whatever. So, and then there's Chip and Chud. Those are technically my cats, according to Summer. Chud is obviously the feral cat that lived under my house in Venice that we, it took me 2 years to coax her out and feed her and then trap her in the house and then finally get her comfortable. And now she's the most relaxed cat in the whole house. Like, she's not afraid of anyone or anything.
So she truly was a cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller.
She was indeed. Or caution hazardous underground dumping, which might be closer to what she was doing under my house. And is the real meaning of Chud in the movie. Spoiler alert.
Hal is a crazy cat lady.
I am not a crazy cat lady. I'm a sane cat man.
Sane cat man.
Hey, I'm the cat man. And then Chip, of course, is our most recent foster fail. He came to us
Chip
alone.
So cute.
And with a broken butt this year. His butt was exploding, and he was burning the hair off the back of his legs with the acetic content in his poor broken buttness.
Crap.
We don't know it's because and the way he eats, I'm sure he ate something just amazingly toxic.
Oh my God.
But now he's happy, healthy, wakes me up every morning with purrs and meows, and if I don't feed him, he starts.
He's huge now, isn't he?
He's a big cat. He's the closest thing to a serval. I want one of those. I want my neck.
Yeah.
Once we get rid of these 5 cats, if they age out, the next one.
Once we get rid of these 5 cats, please don't isolate that sound.
No, as they age out, you know what I mean? As they move on to their next life, where I don't know what they get to. I don't know how cush the next life could possibly be. What are they?
Yeah. I mean,
you know what I mean? What are they? Eagles
Somebody
in the next life?
suggested that Chip ate Taco Bell.
It's entirely possible. I think it was Taco Bell. Although I think Taco Bell is cat food for humans, so I think he would be okay with that. So, anyways, it's it's Maddie, Murphy, and Molly, Chip, and Chud. And for the record, Summer names the cats with the same letter, the Molly, Maddie, Murphy thing. And Chip and Chud were accident. Chud started because of the movie, and then Chip came that way. That was his name that they had given him at the place. So we didn't know that because he looked like chocolate chip. He was vanilla chocolate chip. He had these white and black spots. So that's where that. Hal, your cats lived until 21 years. Well, I hope mine lived that long, if not longer.
Yeah. Flora's up to 16, and she's after her health scare. She's doing great.
Right. Sometimes they just need to come around the bend. That's just how it works. And 2020, and it is Catter Day, by the way. In defense of people, why we're talking about this on it, it is Catter Day after all.
It is.
So Trump's taxes, 2015, he paid $641,931, which is almost exactly the hidden money that he got rid of a year later. Almost note for note, word for word, the money he wrote off from one of his magic LLCs. Almost exactly that amount. And again, I think he does this just to be a jerk. And thank you so much.
Ike called?
Lauren Ipsum. Huh? Yes, and Ike called this week. That was amazing. Remember Ike, our regular, Ike,
From
Ike
South
called
Carolina?
in. Yeah, I was filling in for Joan Esposito, and Ike called in. It was so nice to hear from him. That was a plus. I add that to the pile of wonderful.
Oh my God! And Chris Bell is back.
Right.
Remember our friend Chris Bell from New Trier? And from Sunset Ridge?
Yeah.
He just super chatted us. Thank you so much.
Oh, Chris Bell,
May the new year be filled with love, optimism, and happiness. Keep rocking, boys. Right back at you, Chris.
Absolutely.
And sorry about your mom. She was a lovely lady. And I've got such fun memories about the shenanigans that we do. Chris is the guy that we used to burn army men and Matchbox cars in his sandbox. Like, for real. That's what his mom put up with.
Yes, you go way back with Chris Bell.
I go way back with Chris.
I entered at in a late on ramp.
That's right. Yeah, you probably didn't know him until he was 13 or 14.
Yeah,
or no, later.
15 probably.
Yeah,
but again, I have to say I made up good ground. I think the depth that I have so much love for Winnetka and New Trier especially. Yeah. Because of the depth of the friendships that I made, especially our beloved Johnny Million. We're all going to get weepy at the end of the show because of the thing. All right, hold it together. I'm trying to do news here. I'm trying to keep us on
news.
track. 2015, Trump paid $641,000, then wrote off basically that amount. He lost $31 million that year. 2016, when he during the election, he lost $32 million that year. He paid $750 in taxes. In 2017, he lost.
What did you just say?
He lost $32 million in and he paid $750 in taxes.
Okay.
In 2017, he lost $12 million and paid $750 in taxes. I don't know if that's a filing fee. Is that some sort of right?
Maybe.
Was that for copies? 2018, as a federal employee, where he was getting a federal paycheck and federal insurance from the federal government, where he worked as a federal worker, he made he made $24 million after losing $50 million over the course of 3 years. In his second year of presidency, he made $24 million. Huh. Weird. In personal income.
Crazy.
His investments just did really well after he'd been in office a couple years. Yeah. And then in 2019, the next year, he made $4 million. He didn't make $24 million. He made $4 million. So he lost, his income went down $20 million in 1 year. He paid $133,445 in taxes. And then in 2020,
real quick input here, the Benny Loco is apologizing that she said the S word on the radio.
Twice. No, 3 times. She said it 3 times.
Oh, she donated $1 for each one.
No, she didn't. She missed $1, but it's okay. I'll give her credit for the first one because you get a pass. It was the other 2 that were the big deal.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, and then the final year of office during COVID, Trump lost. He lost $4 million. And he paid 0 taxes in 2020 because it was so good and they built it back so good. Yeah. He also did not donate his salary any of those years according to his taxes. He said he did. There's no evidence of it, which is basically how you can shape up all of his talk about charity his entire life.
That, I would make, if I donated the entirety of my salary, that paper trail would be obnoxiously available.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I'd be like, will you please look at the good deed I am doing? Please, here's the good deed. Neon signs pointing at my good deed.
Well, and especially if you're going, this is the people's money and I don't need it, so I'm going to pass it on to areas where I think they're priorities. You could literally turn it into a campaign effort by proxy, just by going, you know what, I think needs more money. I think the Department of Transportation is doing a great job and they need more money, so here's $50,000 of that. And then I'm going to go over here to the Department of Education. Department of Education, this is, you guys spend this on books or whatever. Here's $50,000. And then I'm going to go over to the Smithsonian and all this stuff. So be kind to me. Make sure my bust looks good. And here's $50,000. And then I believe in the Congressional Records Act. Obviously, we're not talking about Trump doing this. This is, so I'm going to donate the last $50,000 to the National Archives to keep solid records of, and especially to protect. You know what? I take it back. Give me that Department of Transportation. You're fine. I'm going to give your $50,000 to the records preservation property and the people who go through and make sure that classified documents stay classified. Whoever that group is that's in charge of overseeing classified documents to make sure none of them escape and end up, I don't know, at a golf course in a coffin. I'm spitballing. It's a possibility. $50,000 to Shark Week, right? To Shark Week.
Shark Week.
Jeff Marsh, thank you so much. Linda Slaughter, thank you as well. And I appreciate some of you are just kicking in for Benny Loco's swearing, and that's not necessary. I think it's a lovely thing.
So James Etling says that Benny Loco's swearing is his new ringtone.
They snuck by That I heard them, but I think one of them actually squeaked by, in Chicago, because I think poor Lady B was like, it was like whack-a-mole.
No.
Yeah, she was playing whack-a-mole with the dump button. If Benny Loco is going to call in the future, we need to give Lady B one of those whack-a-mole hammers for the dump button. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the big padded
and
hammer.
make it ding. Ba-ding,
Oh, that'd
ba-ding,
be amazing.
ba-ding, ba-ding. Right. Yeah, Jeff Marsh. The Jeffrey Marsh? All right, we'll get to that later. I think it's the Jeffrey Marsh. I'm just going to say that. The amazing thing about Trump's tax problems and them seeing this is that this is not the end of it. Oh my God, finally got him. This is the beginning. This is the this is the beginning of the end. This would be the beginning of the end of the Trump myth. For finally and once and for all. Yep. Because of two main things. One is the story that he always tells, that I paid just the right amount of taxes and I fixed it and I took every possible exclusion and I made it and because I'm smart. That's a lie. And so was the lie that he paid millions in taxes. He absolutely did not. And in many ways, what he claims as, I created thousands of jobs, were actually the companies that built the buildings, and he just slapped his name on it. He was the brand part of it. And so maybe you could argue that the whatever company makes the giant dumb Trump gold letters, those people had some work. But I bet you anything the investors paid for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's like, my name's already worth something, so you pay for the sign. Yeah. Like that, guaranteed. Guaranteed. And so what you're going to see over the next couple of months in particular is people chipping away at the murky aspects of his taxes and the banks now questioning everything he said, because that's the next big step.
Right.
What was he telling the banks at the same time he was telling the government he was making no money at all, that he was broke?
Yeah. You can't have it both ways. You can't tell the banks that you're worth this much to get a loan and then tell the government that you're worth nothing.
That's right. And he has somewhere in the order of, like, I want to say $300 to $400 million in loans coming due in 2023 that he would normally just something in the quarter of like about $400 million. And normally he would just refinance and punt those. Two big problems. Fed has been raising the interest rate, and the cost of borrowing money has gone up. And
he's a risk.
And he's a risk. Why would you believe anything that he presents as collateral at this point?
No.
So great. Such a, and watching this happen, and yeah, Mark Kramer says the Saudis will cover that for him. That was part of the deal that he did in Dubai. The problem is that deal has as many hooks in it as the ones here.
No.
The Saudis are getting into a situation where they are cash and oil poor. That's why they're modernizing. That's why they're starting all this talk about being a tourist destination in the middle of the desert and all that stuff, is because they're running out of oil. They have no other raison d'etre as a country except for Mecca and Medina, which other groups, of Muslim extremists want to seize from them. So it takes a lot of security money to stop that from happening. We got to take a final break of the show. I can't believe it. It's just rushing by. Maybe it's because of all the love you guys are showering on us today, and I'm going to pass out. Love you guys. We'll be back right after this. It's the Hal Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide. Last show of 2022.
Yeah.